Dr. Doom puts on the armor as infamous Iron Man #1 explodes in value after Marvel announces a major reprint push, possibly tied to Avengers Doomsday.
25-Year Rule heads to Gotham with Batgirl #1, the launch of Cassandra Cain's solo series, and one of the most quietly important Bat Family books of the era.
And underrated books, surprising prices, and collector blind spots from the Nom to a modern Captain America #1 that's suddenly selling for way more than it should. It's all here in another episode, a normal episode of Bronze and Modern Gods.
It's been a while.
I know it's been, well, we've been busy. We're busy boys, Richard. We have things going on. How's it going?
It is that time of year. It's going good here. How you doing?
I'm okay. Boy, lots to talk about. Let's get right into it with our hot book of the week. Richard, this was all for you. We've talked about this book over and over again. It is not New Agents of Atlas. It is not Ultimate Fallout 4. It is infamous Iron Man #1.
Yeah, it's a great book. Dr. Doom becomes Iron Man. It's the debut of Tony Stark as an artificial intelligence digital projection. Prices or copy sold has increased by 200% this week versus the previous week after Bleeding Cool reported Marvel will reprint the series in anticipation of Avengers Doomsday with the added subtitle, The Rise of Doom.
But isn't it right there on the cover?
It sure enough is right there.
How is that Rich Johnston? How is that an added subtitle when it's on the cover? Let us know, please.
Yeah, Raws are selling on eBay for high as $40. I spec'd on this series a long time ago, and so I got a number of copies. This is again a second print. You can tell because of the blue label, blue trade dress. But it's a good book, good story.
Wow, we have been bopping around doing special episodes, interviews, comic shop tours. Let's get right to all of our regular features and do a little show and tell to start off with. Now, we skipped soundtrack of the week intentionally because we want to ask you guys, do you care? Is it a waste of time? Let us know. Either way, we're curious. And I can start with show and tell. I have a theme. Indies.
Okay. Ooh,
indies.
Indies.
How do you love you some Journey by William Messner Loebs with Normal Man?
Yeah.
Jim,
I'm familiar with Journey. I never read it.
Me neither. It's one of those critically acclaimed books that William Messner Loebs wrote and drew himself. I don't think it's a secret. He had one arm, so that's pretty impressive. And he was really an indie darling, but then he kind of slipped over into the mainstream. DC, I believe The Flash was his first regular title, taking over from podcast guest Mike Barron when he left the book for a pretty good run on The Flash before Mark Waid really just took that book to new heights. But I have a few issues of Journey, and I don't know. It's one of those books that I buy now and then in a dollar bin, and I'm like, I'm going to get around to reading this and see how it is, but I've never actually done that.
Yeah, kind of like Fish Police for me. I keep picking up issues and never actually getting around to reading it.
The Fish Police, they come to me in my bed. What do you got?
I got a couple. We've talked several times about grading and our consideration of the process. We talked in our live show about CGC increasing their rates. That's something that's come around as of January, when a month that starts with a J.
Please don't push us any further ahead than we already are.
CGC is raising the rates, and it definitely convinced me in no uncertain terms that I'm not going to be grading a bunch of books, and some books that I have that I would actually like to grade, but I'm just not going to do it. Zoot. Zoot is a series from the 40s, the late
40s. Sorry, go on.
Featuring a character named Rula, Queen of the Jungle. That's her on the cover. And
we're very mature on this podcast.
Very mature. Both of these are lower grade books, but they present really well, and I want to preserve them. I want to keep them in a good condition, and that to me is one of the real reasons why you actually slab a book, is to preserve it, to protect it. And given the way that the pricing on slabs right now is, it's just, either one of these are high dollar books. You know, I paid $175 for one, 100 for the other. And they're low grade, but I find them valuable, but they're going to stay raw for the foreseeable future, just because I just don't feel like paying $100 to get them graded. It just economically doesn't make a lot of sense.
And you say you would get them graded to protect them. As someone who had his staples popped more than once by the grader, I don't know if it's necessarily protecting the book. By the way, can you hold that last one up?
Mhm.
DC did not invent the purple gorilla on the cover, everybody, as you can see here from Zoot. And the gorilla looks more like, he wants to dance. Like
Yeah,
tango.
it is. It's a tango. It is a tango, and that's why she's got the knife, because it was an unwanted tango.
Yeah, non-consensual tango from a purple gorilla. That's the name of my first record that came out in 1967, by the way. Concrete Hero Illustrated Special.
Great
Huh?
book. Great book.
This is a later Concrete, like mid-90s Concrete special. I don't know why. I guess because the Legend imprint was launching, and Paul Chadwick and Dark Horse brought back Concrete for that imprint. That was very short-lived. Hellboy was one of the books in that imprint, and Next Men, but I think it lasted less than a year. But here you go. Just an obscure Concrete issue that, if you're a Concrete fan, you may not even know about.
Yeah, great character, great series. If you haven't read Concrete and you're into a different kind of story, because it's not a superhero story. It's not really about him being what you see here. It's really a human interest story, and just told from a different perspective.
Yeah, it's a Trojan horse to tell personality-driven tales disguised as science fiction or superheroics.
Right.
Hey,
Let's see. Next, I'm going to talk about a failed spec book. I thought for sure that this was a couple years ago, that the scrolls were going to be the next big thing. So I hunted down a copy of Fantastic Four number 18, the first appearance of the Super Scroll.
you're saying Captain Marvel, the movie, and Secret Invasion, the TV series, did not make the Skrulls household names?
Nope, sure didn't.
Just checking.
Yeah, first appearance of the Skrulls was Fantastic Four number 2. But this is a Super Skrull, which I always thought was a cool character. He has different powers that match up to the Fantastic Four's powers, and it's always an interesting battle when the two groups, he fights the Fantastic Four. So again, this is his first appearance. It's a low grade book, another book that if I was willing to pay the money to get it slabbed, I probably would, but I'm just not there. Just not there. It's probably a $200 book in its current condition, and it'll stay raw.
They come back to Earth. They have the Super Skrull. They don't try to find the two Skrulls that got left behind and turned into cows.
Nope.
No.
Nope.
Okay. No man left behind is not a motto of the Skrull Empire.
Didn't that get resolved at some point? I thought I remember that getting resolved.
In the Burn Run, there was an annual where it turns out that this is really gross. The Skrull cows were giving milk, and the milk was being sold in this town, and so people in the town had like half Skrull powers, and yeah, it was whoopsie. Good job, Reed. Reed can't do anything right. Where's Victor? Let's have Victor fix things. Love and marriage. Love and marriage. Married with Children, #1 with the Bundys. I don't know if that's really I think I would assume they got likeness rights because there's a picture of them right here, a photo, but apparently they couldn't draw worth a crap at Now Comics.
Ooh, that's scathing.
Look.
Yeah, I can agree. It's just an interesting TV show to make into a comic book.
Great backgrounds on this cover too, by the way.
Yes, a lot of detail went into it. It's they're
So
hard
Rob
from
Liefeld?
service kind of detail.
Not by Rob Liefeld. Okay.
No. Anyway, the TV show was a product of its time. You could not make that show today in any shape or form.
They're having a reunion.
Really? That's great. I
It's not
enjoyed
two
the show.
episodes. It's just, like the Raymond reunion where they all sit around and go, "Weren't we funny?" That was awesome.
Great.
This ran a long time. It had several spin-off titles. There was a
Really?
there was a Married with Children Fantastic Four parody comic spin-off. There was Married with Children 3D. Kelly Bundy had her own comic miniseries.
I guess now that I think about it, it's kind of over the top like a comic book. If you didn't take itself seriously, that would be an interesting. I'll have to track that down.
Where's Marcy? Marcy doesn't get the cover.
No.
Poor Marcy. Poor Steve. Steve was a smart one, right? He's like, I gotta get out of here. What's your last?
Last one is just some books that are going to stay raw. I don't think I would actually get around to slabbing them because they're so low grade. Oh boy, sorry, my stack is falling. And it's Star Trek. Star Trek number 2. I still don't have a number 1. I'm still looking for a decent copy of number 1. 2, number 3, number 4 in its weekly sack. And I'm sorry, I got it out of order. That is number 5, and this is I thought I had put them in order.
Spock got every single one of those covers. They knew what side their butter was.
Oh yeah. So as you can see, I didn't pay a lot for them. These books in lower grades are pretty reasonable. Once you get them into the higher grades, though, they can get pretty pricey. The number 1 is a pricey book as well. I still am looking for that right number 1. It's kind of a confluence of my wallet and, and timing coming across it. So eventually I'll get it. But these are stay raw. I really don't have any interest in grading them. They're just, they're just not, there's no value in them to get them graded in a high enough grade. But I think they're cool books. And if you were around in the 70s when Star Trek was in reruns, you recognize these books because they're all based on actual television episodes.
Where is my Star Lost comic?
Oh my goodness.
There was one from IDW.
Was there really?
Not at the time, like a few years ago, they adapted it, which I was like, whoa, how was the print run on that? 4? Hey, if you like show and tell, you might want to think about becoming a member and supporting the show right here on the YouTubes. You get exclusive live member-only streams on Thursday with an extended show and tell, and also guest members come on and they show their books off too. And boy, we have some big boy books on the live show and tell with the members. Jeez,
it's amazing.
You got money bags. Going on out there. You also get shout outs in future videos. Look at the new names. We got some new members this week. We want to thank you guys, and just hit join here on YouTube right down there next to the subscribe button below as we pivot to the long awaited, many weeks missing viewer mail.
You've got mail.
I can start with Dave No 774. Response to our Northeast Ohio comic book tour of a whopping 2 stores. Ohio seems like a magical savage land type place where the comic book stores survived the great extinction. That's accurate.
Yeah, pretty much. It's cold. It's cold today.
There are more in that 30-mile radius that we just didn't get to because we're old doddering men, and
part of it was we spent too much time in the ones that we went to. That was part of the problem.
We spent some money too. What is your first piece of viewer mail?
My first piece is from Yellow Beanie Comics. Hey. And he talks about the books that you found while we were out comic book hunting. Great deal on the McFarlane covers. Always grab those when I see them cheap, especially newsstand.
Mhm.
Okay. Yellow Comics, you and John would recognize them. I would have passed them up. I did not recognize them as Todd McFarlane books. So
I was
kudos to
shocked when Richard told me that, you guys. Richard's like, those are Todd? I'm like, squiggly webbing, big eyes. Come on.
yeah, should have given it away, but I would have passed them up. And there's tons of books like that at that store. That was at Carol and John's.
Mhm.
Uh, they, John has that memory to be able to pull all of that out. I'm just talking around.
It's like the Terminator, like my point of view. We're catching up. We have not had viewer mail in several weeks, so we have a bunch of catching up to do. Lots of the bags are stuffed. Let me put it that way with viewer mail. The Mike Barron interview got a lot of comments. Well, here's one from Peter Hopkins who says, "Great video, gentlemen. Mr. Barron's views on writing was well appreciated, though I have to disagree about Chris Claremont. He has a lot of indie love, Nexus, Love and Rockets, She, and he kind of did a Dazzler Ginger Fox crossover in an X-Men issue during the Silvestri era. What? Peter, elaborate, please. And overwriting isn't just a Claremont issue. It's an American industry one. Going back to Stan Lee, doesn't matter if it's Claremont or McFarlane, the high points of mainstream writing in American comics are plot and characterization. Also, it's great to see Pat Broderick still around since following him from Captain Marvel, Firestorm, Micronauts, and Captain Atom. Peter, we tease the Claremont. We tease because we love. Richard has a full run of all the Claremont X-Men. I have a big chunk myself. I have a lot of love for Claremont. I mean, I started reading Claremont's writing before I knew it was Claremont's writing in War is Hell, his first ongoing title. I read his Man Thing. I read his Doctor Strange. I love Chris Claremont. I also love teasing Chris Claremont because there is a reason why some of the things he does are called Claremontisms.
I got to meet Chris Claremont, sort of.
Sort of. I'm the best at what I do, and what I do isn't pretty. Repeat, rinse, repeat. Goddess.
How many times does Storm say that?
I will own you, Richard Brown, body and soul. I could do Claremontisms all day. We'll stop, Peter. We hear you. We love them. It's just good-natured ribbing. Your next piece of your mail.
My next piece is from Merv 2069, and he says,
"You're gonna load up the gun.
Load the gun."
Right.
Talking about comic book stores that we didn't go to. We went to one called North Coast Comics, and it was closed, as he says. Since North Coast Comics was closed, you should have checked out B&L Comics, a 40-year-old shop 2 minutes down the road. Yes. I actually went to B&L the week before, and we had talked about going to B&L. There are some challenges with that store in terms of being able to go in and film. We did not feel that we would get permission to do so. And when I went in the previous week, I confirmed their backstock. It's been well picked over, and if you're looking for filler, there are some great filler books, but if you're looking to pull something out, some diamond in the rough, it's a tougher thing to do at B&L. It was also getting kind of late when we were in that part of town. If you notice the video, it was starting to it's starting to get dark.
At 4 o'clock in Ohio. What's going on?
Isn't that crazy? So anyway, yeah, we talked about B&L, but in the end, we decided that it just wasn't going to work for what we were trying to do, which is film each of the different comic book stores and talk about the experience.
Now, having said that, we support every comic shop. We support every independent person trying to make it in this business of slinging funny books. So let's keep that in mind. It was not, don't interpret it as a hardcore diss. It was more like, do we want to deal with this today, this late? If you've been to B&L, you can read between the lines. If you're the guy from B&L, hey, leave us a comment, DM us, make us welcome. We'd love to come and check it out. The Beautiful Downgrade is talking about Mike Barron as well. Never did I ever think I would listen to an interview in 2025 where Sonic Disruptors would be a part of the conversation. Even though Mike is one of the creators of that series, I never even considered that it would come up. I don't think I've ever met another comic book reader or collector that's even read it. It's always been one of those series in my collection. It's almost like an albatross. I can't give it away. But here we are all these years later, and Mike Barrett and John and Richard are discussing Sonic Disruptors on a podcast in 2025, and those comics are still sitting in my collection. Music being such a central part of my personality, and looking at the covers, I can understand why teenage me bought it at the time. If you read it now, it almost eerily presages the political climate we are currently embroiled in. This interview has answered a long-standing mystery about why I only ever had half of the supposed 12-issue miniseries in my collection all these years on, and I never even knew I was missing that last issue, number 7. A very enlightening interview. Thank you, beautiful downgrade. That comment made my day because I'm a music guy too, obviously. I loved Sonic Disruptors at the time. I was not surprised it got can't. I was a little surprised because I was running a comic shop. I knew it was a horrible seller. Out of all the DC and Marvel books, I was getting an issue, with wholesale. And I think we had one other pool customer buying it. That was it. So by issue 7, our orders were cut down to like having one shelf copy. So we were ordering 3 copies, which this is 1987. This is the height of Secret Wars 2 and the boom and everything. Vertigo getting ready to get launched. Things were Dark Knight, Watchmen, things are selling. And this poor little experimental miniseries got canceled. The reason why I say it was a little surprising is I believe that was the first time ever from the big 2 that they canceled an announced miniseries halfway through and just said, F it. I mean, Gem Son of Saturn got to finish. Nathaniel Dusk got to finish.
I said sales were that bad.
Sales were that bad. But I'm glad someone out there appreciated us bringing up Sonic Disruptors. Like they say on Mystery Science Theater 3000 about some of the more obscure jokes. We don't care if everyone gets it. We don't care if the right people get it. What is your last piece of viewer mail?
My last piece of viewer mail is from a foreign reader or viewer / listener, Juan Cordoba. Let's just call it that. Hopefully that was right. And he's from Spain. Hello from Spain. I cannot find out some histories drawn by Spaniards from Brandon Art Agency that were published by Fleetway. I would look into some online resources with indexed writers and war comics, especially some published histories about Rangoon raids by the Flying Tigers. I would appreciate any source. Thanks. So what I'm getting from Juan's comment is he's looking for information on artists from a specific title about the Flying Tigers. And I did some looking into this, and what I would recommend that you do, Juan, if you are watching, is I basically took your comment and pasted it into ChatGPT, and ChatGPT did some real gave me some real information about finding specifically what you're looking for. We need a title of, if you can remember the title of a particular book, the artist that you're looking for was that would help. Apparently Fleetway picture libraries don't typically have creator credits, so you need to have some kind of way of indexing the title with a particular artist. So the more information we can get, the better. It also surfaced that Brandon Art that you were talking about was probably Barden Art, which is a Barcelona, London-based art agency that supplied a lot of Spanish artists to Fleetway. And they gave other resources to look at, such as the Grand Comic Database, which is always a good source if you're looking for information on writers and artists. League of Comic Geeks also has a war picture library, which you may be able to find what you're looking for through that source. And there's a actual book called Fleetway Picture Library Index that you can buy, which is an index of all the Fleetway content, and you can use it hopefully to to cross-reference the artist that you're looking for. It's really tough when there is no indicia that actually spells out an artist. You have to use some of this inference to be able to determine who a writer or an artist is. So I recommend, again, just type it into ChatGTP. You'll be surprised how useful it can be and help you find the right way to search, which is more of what it gave me when I typed it in, the right way to search for what you're looking for.
You mean it didn't just make up titles and put them in there?
It pretty much could. But, you know, using what it gave me, it really felt like it was a good lead on trying to find what Juan was looking for.
All right. Buenos suerte, Juan. Buenas noches. Hey, this is the last 25-year rule segment.
Yeah, for the year. So the next one is going to be the next one is going to be 2001.
Dun, dun, dun. 25-year rule. 25-year rule. Richard, tell me about Batgirl #1 and why she looks so masculine on the cover.
You know, I thought, you know, if you look at it, it looks kind of like Terry from Batman Beyond.
Just saying, she's what's is that a bulge? What's going on?
That's a good question. Batgirl #1 from 2000. This book is the series launch back in April of 2000. It kicked off the solo series starring Cassandra Cain as Batgirl. It was written by Kelly Puckett and Scott Peterson, and pencils by Damian Scott, inks by Robert Campanella.
Mm-hmm.
This issue introduces Cassandra Cain in her role as Batgirl, a former assassin who has sworn off killing and is trying to find her place in Gotham's vigilante scene.
I love that you wrote that Gotham has a vigilante scene. It's like grunge in Seattle in the 90s.
Yeah, to me, Barbara Gordon is Batgirl. So this was an interesting character, you know, coming across, you know, changing the tone of the backstory. Do you remember reading this back in 2000?
No one will ever replace the one and only Batgirl, Carrie Kelly. I mean, Barbara Gordon. No, this passed me by. This zero interest. Sorry.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like Azrael.
Okay, you know? Gotcha. Yeah.
I like the core Bat characters. I don't need 30 different spin-off titles in the year 2000. Doodly, 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 2025. Another 60.
But, you know, doesn't it feel, it's kind of like, you know, Absolute Batman. It's kind of it's a darker feel for the Batman universe. You know, she's a ninja type character and has those kinds of skills, where Barbara really wasn't that that martial, let's just say, from the get-go.
But Batgirl, if you're a ninja and you've got skills, you're going to go by Batgirl. You're not going to be
Batwoman
or Azraella.
Azraella, yeah.
Costume's horrible too. I cannot let this costume go by without saying, ew. All gray with yellow highlights. This is, yeah. And then you look at, you know, Yvonne Craig as Batgirl from the TV series. You know, come on, that's Batgirl.
Yeah,
they have the color scheme in the logo, the purple and yellow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
Don't know. Bras of this are about $15-20. CGC 9/8 are anywhere from $60 to $120. If you're into this, if you were a part of this type of character back in 2000, you can pick this up and add it to your collection.
Yeah, don't listen to us.
Oh wow, this is that okay. It's not usual that you are so meh about it.
Same thing I feel about, I know I'm in the minority, you guys, you don't have to tell me, the Damian Wayne,
Oh, well,
yeah,
okay.
just
Yeah.
dilution. I'm not a fan of dilution.
How
Uh,
many Robins do we really have to have?
I'm not a fan of dilution. But you listen to this part where we tell you our underrated books of the week. Richard, as I was mentioning earlier, I used to run a comic shop locally that you would shop at, how we
Mhm.
met. And this was the hottest book for a good 6 months after it came out.
Wow. We're talking about the Nam from Marvel back in 1986.
Mhm.
This book to me, I did not read it when it first came out. I picked it up later. You could pick it up in dollar bins. Then there are uh, you know ones the book that you can find pretty common in dollar bins. Doug Murray was the writer. Your buddy Michael Golden was the artist for this is now number one.
Which is why I read it.
Yeah, I thought it had an interesting premise. Every month would represent 30 days passing in real time. So you started at the beginning in 1966, and then the series ran all the way through the Vietnam era, which I thought was an interesting premise. So it happened and unfolded real time with the reader, and at the end of the first 12 issues, which is a year, you know, characters are rotated out. They went home, and you had new characters come in. Um, when as I'm reading it, I have some familiarity with people who fought in Vietnam, and I understand the reason why they had to tone down some of the language and some of the concepts.
Drug
Um,
use.
yeah, it's definitely, it's been praised for the accuracy of the storylines. But again, I think some of it got toned down to fit into the narrative that's going to work with the comic code, for example. And as a matter of fact, they call out, "Hey, we're a war title that still fits into the comic code." Um, but it's as John mentioned, it was a popular title. Do you have any in your collection at this point?
No, I used to have a run of the golden issues, and then when I did my first purge, those left. Um, I it was insanely popular. We would have what I called the bikers that would come in, and the biker customer, not necessarily bikers, they just look like bikers. They would
Mhm,
buy they would buy 3 books: Conan the Barbarian,
mhm,
Savage Sword of Conan the Barbarian, and the Nom. That's
mhm.
and can I start a pull list for you? See, no, I'm fine. Like, oh, I'm going to get their personal information and come to their house if they have a pull list. Um, and civilians, this was a big newsstand book, and it took everyone by surprise. And this is a good lesson too about being trapped in genres. It would never happen now because Disney owns Marvel. They have to produce, and make a profit. Came at a time when war books were dead.
Mhm.
The only book that was still going on was Sergeant Rock over at DC, barely hanging on. It was quarterly reprint title at this point. And Marvel was known for superheroes. This was it. All the westerns were gone, and they launched a war title, a different war title with top flight creative talent. It wasn't like, let's give it to the new kid and see how he does, and it was a huge success. There was a second printing of the Nom number one. The Nom ran for, I think, 70 some issues. They ran forever, no superheroes. They kept it realistic. They kept it in its own universe, away from the Marvel universe, until the 90s, early 90s, when sales started to falter, and you had Frank Castle in the Nom. Why would you do that, Marvel? Ugh. But the lesson I'm trying to impart here is, against all odds, a non superhero book can be a success. I still feel that way. If they got the right push, the right promotion. This came about because there was a black and white magazine. Marvel had revived Savage Tales, that in the 80s they tried a new version of Savage Tales, and these were like little short stories in Savage Tales that got a really good response. And so they thought, you know what, let's try this on the newsstand as a comic book. And they were pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, this has been reprinted in trade paperbacks. So if you're looking at reading it, you can buy the collection that way. The books themselves are pretty common, which has affected the values of the books. You can buy them in this issue #1 for about $15 raw. $50 is what we're looking at for a CGC grade, which means you're basically in the hole when it comes to getting it graded.
Back in the day, it was a 75-cent book and it sold out instantly and you couldn't find it. So it was like a $5 book, like instantly, which, is a lot of money, compared to 75 cents back then.
Right.
That's a good pick. I wish mine was as good. It's not really. This is more of like a, what? When did this happen? Why? Huh? It is, believe it or not, a modern book from 2025 that is not absolute Batman related.
No.
It is Captain America #1 from earlier this year. In fact, 6 months ago this year. It is a hot book and underrated because it is the first appearance of someone named David Colton, who becomes a super soldier in issue 2 and is rumored to be a part of what's coming up in Doomsday, a new Captain America to replace, aging, decrepit Chris Evans, who looks horrible. What? It also tells the tale of the first meeting of Captain America and Dr. Doom. Who's that? What? Who? What? I was shocked, Richard, to discover this book is selling for as high as $30 on eBay.
What?
There's the face I wanted to see. Exactly.
Wow.
$30.
That's crazy. And there's no absolute there in the title. It's not absolute Captain America.
It's a relaunch. It's Chip Zdarsky. It's, I talked about when it came out, I read it and I think I gave a lukewarm review. I still feel that way. It wasn't bad. It wasn't like the spectacular flame out that the JMS run was before this. That started off really good. And I'm still reading it. If you're getting it, if you got a couple extra copies, #1 apparently was really under ordered. That's why it's, a lot of copies around $15-20, but there's one $30 sale last week. So something's going on. I recommend, if you haven't ordered it yet, because I believe it's coming out next week. Issue 6 introduces 5 new characters. So if you are buying this book, make sure you do not miss this issue #6. But Captain America #1 from 2025. Who knew?
Who knew? That's good. That's crazy.
Did you guys know? No, knew? Did you guys knew in the comments? Did you knew? Let us know if you knew.
Yes. Comments, please. People leave comments. We appreciate them. We love answering questions and elaborating. At least John does.
Yeah. Are you saying I'm a whore for attention, Richard?
I am not using that specific word. No.
Are you just saying I'm a whore? Married man. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations to Richard for feeling better. He was sick all last week, but he looks much better now. You feeling better?
I'm feeling 100% better. Absolutely.
Awesome. Hey, members, we will see you on Thursday for extended show and tell and chat. Everyone else, we will catch you. Yes, next Monday, another regular episode. We're back.
Everybody, stay safe.